Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be looking at my Yu-Gi-Oh! Goat deck. The strategy of this deck is it's kind of like a flip deck, so you're relying on a lot of flip monsters. Starting off here, we have two Dekoichis, so these allow you to cycle through your deck, draw a card, just get one through. And you can use, if you flip it down, it's card draw, right? You want card draw. Then you have three Gravekeeper Spies. So these allow you to get, big monsters on the field. The reason why I'm running 3, right? Most people, you run 2. The reason why you're running 3 is because you do run Tsukiyomi. I do run Tsukiyomi in this deck, so you can get that advantage. Or, if you mind control or something, a Gravekeeper Spy, you can get that extra one out. And then when you draw one, you have a target, and you might as well have 3, right? There's no reason not to, right? And then we're running 2 Magicians of Faith, right? Once again, Magician of Faith, why wouldn't you? It's a light, allows you to regain one of your good spells. Great card. Then you're running Morphing Jar. So Morphing Jar it's a very good card, right? Once again, you're drawing. The downside is that there's a lot of monsters in this deck, so you're not going to be empty-handed a lot, so you're not going to get full potential out of it. But it's also just good because if you got monsters, well, you can use your chaos monsters and then go to the graveyard. So that's good, It's just cycling, and that's kind of this deck is for how kind of I don't know. You draw a lot of cards in this deck. And then you're running 2 Morphing Jars numbers 2. You have all these flip monsters. Well, this allows you to bring out those flip monsters. Now, sometimes you're like, oh, well, I don't have any monsters on the field, right? I don't got a lot of big monsters on the field, so how am I going to use it? Well, it's also just kind of a defensive thing, right? It removes your opponent's monsters. It puts them face down. And so that, gives you kind of the advantage in that regard, too. Then you're running Azure Priest. And Azure Priest Light allows you to, clear a big board. It's great. I mean, sometimes, against like a warrior deck, it's like, oh, well, they have too much attack. And that's fair. But, it just helps you clear up the board. And then you're running 2 Sooks. It's a flip deck. You might want to run 3, but I'm running 2 because that's what I have. And Sooks, you don't want to draw all your Sooks. You want to have one because you repeat it. So it really doesn't matter. Then you're running Exile Force. A bit of a surprise. You're like, oh, why Exile Force? Because there is a warrior, kind of like a couple warrior synergies in this. Or not synergies, but just there's warriors in this deck with reinforcements. And this is a removal piece, right? You can, remove a card. And it's good, right? You got a lot of, your Gravekeeper Spies are really defensive. So you really don't need to be that effective with, your normal summons. You can kind of just use him as a normal summon, kill a guy, and you still have a pretty good defense. Then you're running Goblin Attack Force. This is similar to the Exile Force of just kills a dude and then goes to defense position, and you have Sook, so you can kind of bring him back next turn. You can kind of be a bit faster with that. It's an Earth, I think. No, I removed that, so that doesn't matter. But it's just it's basically like a second Exile Force, but a bit easier to counter. Then you have 2 Blade Knights. Once again, warriors. It's a light. You want lights because we do run chaos monsters in this deck, and Blade Knight's kind of good. It helps remove your opponent's flip monsters, so that's another thing is early in the game, they get less value, but also 2,000 attack when you're low. Once again, you're not going to be that low at cards most of the time, just because there is a decent bit of monsters in this deck. Then you're running Sangan. It's Sangan. It searches for cards in your deck. That's what you want. Then you're running Breaker. Breaker, once again, just kind of big body, destroys a spell. Good card. Then you're running 2 Kaikus. The reason why you're running 2 Kaikos, first of all, he's just a big guy, right? That's kind of thing. This is a flip deck, but you're running a lot of big attack monsters just for the fact of you want big attack monsters. And this allows you to basically turn off your opponent's chaos monsters, which that's what you want. You don't want them to play their big monsters. Talking about chaos monsters, we have the 2. We have a Chaos Sorcerer and a black BLS, right? Once again, big chaos monsters. These are how you're going to be winning. Banish your opponent's monsters, kill them with 3,000 attack. Great. Now we're under the spells. We got 2 Noblemens, right? Once again, Noblemen destroy their flip monsters. And a good thing why you're running a lot of the big attack monsters is because if you Noblemen one of their flip monsters, your flip monsters also get removed. And so in most decks, that's kind of a negative because you're relying on a flip monster. But when you get rid of your flip monsters, what are you left with? You're left with a pretty aggressive deck. And so that's also really handy. It's just because you get rewarded for you just kind of nobleman out everything, and it's pretty good. And then you got Mystical Space Typhoon. Once again, just spell trap removal, mind control. This is what I was talking about with the Gravekeeper Spy. You get more advantage off of it. You basically any face down monster is basically like a nobleman just for the fact of you get that effect, and it's very good value. And then you have Graceful Charity and Pot of Greed. So Graceful Charity, Pot of Greed. Why wouldn't you run them? It's card draw. It's great. Graceful Charity, cycle through your deck. Great card. Heavy Storm, like MST. Why wouldn't you run it? Spell trap removal. It's great. You do run a lot of traps, so it's kind of, do you really want to? But once again, you'd be silly not to. Then you run Premat. So Premat is kind of meh because, you can bring back your Exiled Force, and that's kind of why you run it, is just because Exiled Force. But also, Kaiku or, literally any card. It's just a special summon. You get more damage. Then you're running 2 Reinforcements from Army for those, I think it's like 4-5 warriors. Just allows you to kind of get to those warriors more often. Get to your Exiled Force, get to the cards you want. And, it's just good. Reinforcements is a great card. Then you're running 3 Magic Drains. The reason why 3 is a lot, right? That is the thing. But spells and spells are good, right? And so if you deny their spells, you're going to win. You're running Call of the Haunted. This is the same reason for Premat. Bring back your powerful monsters. Running Ring of Destruction. Burn, right? This deck, you're not going to be able to get much damage onto your opponent. This helps you get there and just allows you to finish off, because this is, more of a defensive deck. You're not going to be attacking very often. And so you're going to have a lot more life points than your opponent is, hopefully. And then you're running 3 Bottomlesses. Once again, you're running a lot of these flip monsters. You don't really want your opponent to have monsters, so you kill them with Bottomless. And then you're running Magic Cylinder. Once again, burn damage, extra damage just to get you over the edge, and it helps protect some of your monsters, right? Maybe you're like, oh, well, I don't want this, Morphing Jar number 2 to activate on my opponent's turn. I want it to activate on my turn or something. I don't really know. Or, you want Morphing Jar number 1 would be a better example, right? I want to be able to play these cards and then be able to refill my hand. And then you're running Saku, just 1. That's all I have. Kills a monster, just, removal. And then Torrential and Mirror Force for the same reason. Just, remove your opponent's monsters. So that's the deck. Like I said, it's just kind of a flippy-dippy, kind of aggressive deck. It's not like that honed in on strategy. It's just kind of generally just kind of good cards. I think, Morphing Jar number 2, I think, is the most kind of controversial of the cards, just for the fact of, what do you do with it? It's kind of, you're not going to get that many hits, but it works. And if you flip it on your turn, it puts itself back in, I'm pretty sure. And so, it can kind of be annoying sometimes, but that's the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.